Podcasts on YouTube are not podcasts. Why is that important to you as a podcaster or someone who wants to start one? Or what if you're neither of those, but have a YouTube channel and want more views? Here's all of the information. So podcasts on YouTube are a type of playlist. These playlists are like actual podcasts in that they fit a format that we've come to recognize as a podcast. For YouTube's purposes, a podcast is a style of content that typically looks like what you would think of when you think of a podcast, an episodic show that follows a central theme. For example, you have a podcast about scary movies, and each episode of that podcast talks about a different scary movie. But in YouTube's case, this podcast only exists on YouTube and the YouTube Music app, which, if you did not know that part, is the biggest reason why you would use YouTube's podcast feature. More on that and how to get more views for your channel in a second. Where you won't find your YouTube podcast, which again is just a playlist, is in Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere else you typically get your podcast. This is because a podcast in the true definition of the word has an RSS feed, which is how it also exists in most podcast apps. This is just a type of text file that allows you to get listed in podcast apps, have people subscribe, and get new episodes delivered to those apps automatically. But YouTube does not provide this type of RSS feed. And because your playlist on YouTube is not an actual podcast with an RSS feed, you can't put your videos on YouTube and have those sent to all the podcast apps. Those videos and playlists only exist on YouTube and YouTube Music, which is something that you, someone with a YouTube channel, can take advantage of to get more views. If you have a series of videos that have a common theme like woodworking, you can put those videos into a podcast playlist, and then that gets you into YouTube Music for additional views on those videos that you would not have gotten before. So do that. And if you've done that and are wondering if it worked, check the linked video where I show you how it works. So this isn't a video about why YouTube podcasts are bad. It's to make you aware of how podcasts on YouTube work because they are such a big platform for consuming podcasts these days. If you're a podcaster who also distributes your podcast to YouTube, make sure you also create a podcast playlist to get that content into YouTube Music. But if you're someone starting a podcast and you're creating it on YouTube and haven't created an RSS feed, it's important to understand the distinctions between a podcast with an RSS feed and one that is just on YouTube. It's important because perhaps the most powerful thing about having your own podcast is the unbreakable connection to your audience. In this case, if YouTube wants to take away your podcast, in other words, cut you off from your audience, just like from your channel, they can do that at any moment. With a true podcast, this doesn't happen. If Apple removes you from their store, your audience, those who have already subscribed to your show, keep their connection to your RSS feed. That means you can still talk to them and tell them what happened and what to do next. So understanding what you're getting when you create a podcast on YouTube is important when it comes to understanding your ownership of it. You own the connection to your audience, not the platform. Drop a comment if you have questions.